Welcome to the latest edition of the Omni Talk Spotlight series, the series that highlights the people, the companies, and the technologies that are shaping the future of retail. I am your host, Chris Walton.
And I'm Ann Mazenga.
And today we are bringing back one of our favorite guests from 2023 to discuss the always important topic of last mile delivery quality and cost. So please join us in welcoming back for his second time under the spotlight to kick it off here in 2024. Buncha's CEO, Bharat Pulgam. Bharat, welcome back to Omni Talk.
Yeah, Chris, Ann, thanks for having me.
We're really excited to have you, Brad, for one reason, selfishly, because I think of all the companies that Chris and I work with, you are the company that I tell people about most often. And then I get an email or a text about the following week, like, oh my God, how did I not know this existed? It's so awesome. So I have to say, just we've been having so much fun watching just the growth that you guys have had over the course of the last year. Yeah. I'm really excited to dive into that with you a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 2023 was such a phenomenal year for us. We made some exceptional hires into our leadership team. The company's grown. I think at the beginning of this year we were at 20. We're now nearly 80 people. So and that's not even including our driver workforce. It was funny. One of my buddies from college, he sent me a picture of all of our vans in a parking lot, and he's like, I didn't know Buncha was doing it like that. And I was like, hey, we're actually doing some cool things over here. So
yeah,
2023 was a big year for us.
Well, Brad, maybe let's start there. For those people who haven't been forced to have dinner with me or drinks and hear the pitch or with Chris, what is Buncha? Give our audience listening for the first time a little bit of background.
For sure. So Buncha is a platform that connects retailers with local neighborhoods for affordable, scheduled, high quality, we like saying milkman-style deliveries. So we're a little different than your traditional, on-demand delivery services because we kind of crossed out the on-demand part. Our assumption is that most Americans actually care more about affordability and quality and convenience of delivery than the actual speed of it. So what we've done is we work with our retail partners to schedule deliveries, once a week, twice a week, maybe even 5 times a week, depending on their demand. We'll pre-schedule those deliveries. We'll actually allocate a refrigerated vehicle and a team of W2 drivers to that time slot, and we will fulfill the orders that we receive during that time slots. We have 2 sides to our business. We have a marketplace business, which is very similar to the other ones out there. What's unique about our marketplace business is that it's built around people that plan. So we kind of realize that, hey, most people that shop for groceries are buying groceries on a weekly basis. So let's build an app that allows people to get what they need from all of their stores on a weekly basis. So let's say you go into the Buncha app, you put in your zip code, you'll see your schedule for your neighborhoods. It'll say, hey, this retailer's coming on Tuesday, this retailer's coming on Friday. We have a really cool feature now where you can just add in a grocery list. You can say bananas, eggs, milk, oranges, and we will actually, based on your prior preferences, order that from all of the stores. So maybe you like bananas from Costco, but you like your mandarin oranges from Target, So we'll try to get everything. And one of the really cool things that we did this year was we started aggregating multiple stores into the same vehicle. So now when a customer gets a delivery, you might get 4 different stores delivered in a single delivery point at your door. So it saves us costs, which allows us to be extremely affordable, but it also for a customer is a very delightful experience.
Yeah, I mean, Brett, I have to pause there and just remind people that as a customer, it's $1.45 for each one of these deliveries, which I think that is the point that when you tell people about this, they're just like, I don't understand. I don't understand how this is possible. And even the listeners might be thinking that too, but it's because of the consolidation of
the aggregation. Correct. So that's one side of it, right? And the affordability is powered by this unbelievable level of aggregation we're about to do, right? So if you look at our competitors, and this is data that's available online, but you're typically seeing 1 to 2 orders delivered per hour, right? And what's interesting is it's not due to the fact that they can't batch more, but it's literally because the workforce they have doesn't have the vehicles, right, to
Right.
batch larger orders. So
Right.
when we have these refrigerated trucks and these drivers that are trained in how to, kind of set up the orders in the best way, we're able to get, over 12, 15, 20 orders. And that's where we really excel compared to our competition. So that's the marketplace side. But what's really exciting, what's really new to the Buncha model in 2023, and we just started working on this, is as we've been talking to retailers, right, a core part of our business is retailer partnership with us. So we charge a commission of sale, just like any other marketplace. And we started realizing that, a lot of retailers don't really want to be on another marketplace, unless there's enough volume right there. And as a small company, we don't have that volume. So it's been kind of a very transparently kind of a battle to get these retailers, to partner with us. And then we started thinking, we're like, okay, what do retailers need today, right? So all of our retailers are investing in, they're putting hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars into their own e-commerce. They're putting in investment into in-store picking and order pickup and drive up and delivery capabilities. But what they're really looking for is quality experience, right? They want a great customer experience. And that's what we kind of found out through these conversations. So today, from my understanding, a retailer might get an order on their website, and they might put it out to 4 to 5 different on-demand providers, just like any of the names you've heard today. And those providers will take the order and they'll go deliver to the customer. But that is actually a very complicated process, because the provider might cancel the order, the provider might not deliver it on time, the provider might not follow the instructions that the customer requested. And so we realized, okay, interesting, we have created unexpectedly W2 drivers, refrigerated trucks, scheduled, extremely precisely, which means a very, very high on-time rate. So when you compare Buncha's delivery KPIs with the rest of the industry, we're 3 to 4 times better, right? So if you look at on-time delivery percentage, Buncha exceeds 99.5% every time, because guess what? Our drivers are already scheduled for that order, right? We're not trying to find labor in the moment. If you look at cancellation rate, like I think the average is 11%, Buncha's less than 0.5%. Once again, the drivers are already scheduled. This isn't an instance where a 1099 worker receives an order and they say, oh, I don't want to do that, right? Which is interesting. And then the last one is when you just look from a delivery experience standpoint, our drivers are consistently rated 4.9 stars or higher, when I think the industry average is around 4.5 or 4.6. So, last thing I'll say here, which I think is a really cool manifestation of this product, but we've been talking to a retailer in Minneapolis, and one of the problems they have is they have a older population where they might need extra help. So, they put into the instructions and they're like, hey, please bring this, to my door. Or please, can you please put this on my countertop? 1099 workers are not, required to do any of that labor, right? So, this retailer was having issues where, the people were leaving it out on the street. And if I'm disabled or not mobile, where am I going to go, right? So we've been able to step in and we've been able to say, hey, we'll actually deliver this into your home, put it on your countertop. It doesn't cost us anything incrementally, but we're able to provide an exceptional level of service for those customers. So anyway, that's kind of our new product offering, which we're really excited about.
Yeah, it sounds great. And I want to get into all of that with you in more detail too, but let's roll it back for a minute. Let's reset for the audience too. So let's talk more about the white labeling service. So if I'm a retailer in the audience listening to this, what exactly is the value proposition? How does it work? How do I set it up? How do I get involved with that capability via Buncha?
Yeah. So really, I mean, my pitch is, if you're a retailer that cares about how your product actually gets delivered, which is mostly everyone, right?
Yep.
In today's day and age, we're a great fit for you, because we have, the training we can create for our drivers, the kind of guided experience we can create for the store operations team, as well as for the e-commerce team. Hey, this is a tool for you to kind of drive revenue to your store when and where you want to, right? So if you kind of look at our 3 stakeholders, right, we got to make the stores happy. Buncha does an excellent job of that, because we can schedule the deliveries to when the store can actually fulfill them. So if we know the store has a downtime period between 1 and 4 o'clock, we'll come and pick up the orders at 4, so you can fulfill them from 1 to 4. We'll kind of stay out of your way. So that's one really cool thing, right? From a customer experience standpoint, for all the reasons I just mentioned, we will go above and beyond. So, one of the things we're exploring is, hey, we'll kind of co-brand some vests together, X delivery powered by Buncha, right? We'll go and do the deliveries. If you want specific things, right, in your delivery experience, we can accommodate that. So from a customer experience standpoint, we're able to really go above and beyond. And then kind of lastly, as I kind of mentioned for the e-commerce team, we're also more affordable, right, compared to other services. So from the conversations I've had so far, we're usually at the other services, per delivery rate, if not $1 or $2 lower, just because of the batching that we can do. So that's kind of some of the value that we're able to bring to a retailer. Chris, I think you asked, how do we actually do this, right? So
Yeah.
one of the things that we've recently, spent most of the last quarter and Q3 as well building is kind of integrations into these delivery aggregation softwares. So, a lot of these retailers on their back end have systems powering that orchestration. We connect into a lot of those. We also have a suite of APIs that will allow you to do that. We even have as bare minimum as, hey, just upload a spreadsheet to our portal or email, the orders as you get them, right? So we can really service anything from a small business that doesn't have any delivery capability today, and they don't have, a sophisticated API engine. So they basically just email us the orders and we'll come pick it up, or anywhere all the way to, we have a suite of, orchestration rules, Buncha, we want you to take these orders. We can power all of it. So, I think we've been able to do a great job of very quickly integrating. Our last partner we integrated within less than 7 days. So.
Wow. Okay. So I want to ask you more about that then, because the point about delivery orchestration is really key, because essentially what you're saying for those listening is like, you Buncha can basically program yourselves into any retailer that has these delivery orchestration software services set up. And so my question then, Bharat, to go into more detail is like, what service are you actually selling and what is showing up on the product detail page of a given item, for example? Can you walk me through like a real life example of what that looks like from the retailer perspective, also potentially from the consumer perspective that shows the differences in price and delivery expectations too?
Yeah. So how we differ on like that specific point is, one, we do flat rate pricing. So we're not doing like, I know a lot of these other services have like mileage and, hey, if you go past this point, it's flat rate. So when you talk to us, what we ask for is, hey, let us know how your last, quarter looked. We'll do some analysis. We'll give you our best rate. Per delivery, you pay that flat rate. So there's no like, hey, here's all the math or whatever. From a customer standpoint, what's cool is, based off of our discussion with the retailer, we will select specific windows that we want to push, either an elevated service offering, that's what we're offering, right? Or, a affordable, offering. So we've kind of seen retailers use this both ways. One of them is, hey, I want you guys to go above and beyond. I want you guys to go deliver into the home of the customer. We're going to charge more for this service. So we might be a buck or two for that specific delivery window than the existing price that the retailer might charge. We've seen that actually work really well, especially for people that need the extra help. On the flip side, which is interesting, right? There's two ways Buncha is being used, is we've seen retailers, because we're able to be so affordable and even lower than their existing delivery offerings, right? Seen them use this as a hyper affordable delivery option. So, we have a retailer where, I think we're charging them something like $6 a delivery, which their rest of their, delivery providers are $9 to $11. So we're already $3 cheaper. And then what they're doing is they're actually subsidizing $3 of that. And then their customers paying $2.99. So for the first time, this retailer is offering $2.99, delivery during these specific windows. So
during those windows, right? So that's what shows up on the PDP. Like, you can have this, but it's going to be at this time, but it's going to be a lot cheaper than your other options. And they're showcasing that for the customer.
Exactly. So, and I want to be clear, right? Like, either of these experiences are still being powered by refrigerated trucks, W2 drivers, an exceptional customer service, both of these, right? But if you want us to go above and beyond, we can do that. If you want us to continue to provide a great experience, but you want to capture more delivery share in your market, we can help you with that too.
And the linchpin is all the aggregation of the model and the scheduling of the deliveries according to the truck's load availability.
So one thing, Chris, is we've gotten questions about like, okay, what if I what if we can't get you enough aggregation, right? So what we've done with retailers is typically we say, hey, if you can get at least 5 orders in a window, we can service it. And let's say you don't get 5 orders. Let's say you, like we say, okay, 5 orders in a window. Let's say you only get 2 that window. We're still going to service it, right? We don't want to ever leave a customer, upset that they didn't get their delivery, but we typically try to shoot for a 5-order batch.
Now, Bharat, I mean, you've outlined so many benefits that you've delivered to these retailers. Do you have any specific case studies with retailers that could further demonstrate this that you could share?
Yeah. I think the best example is the
Yeah.
one we're doing with this local retailer here, where we're kind of helping out that senior population. It was kind of a fascinating. This entire model actually came from that discussion I had with the retailer, because I was like, this is super interesting. They came to us and they're like, hey, the drivers that we match with for our deliveries on Uber Eats, on Instacart, on DoorDash, they don't follow my delivery instructions. They don't follow my customers' delivery instructions. I was like, we don't actually have to do any additional work for our customers to do that, or for our drivers to do that, right? Our drivers are already used to doing this. So I think, what we've been able to do with them is open up this audience and see more adoption from this audience of maybe senior customers, disabled customers who might not have used, delivery before because they couldn't trust it. And now they're using it as an option. And this is really cool, right? This retailer has actually a call center where people call in to take orders, and all of those orders are getting routed to Buncha.
They come to you.
Oh my gosh.
Because they know that we're able to kind of, work around that. And I think, some of the other folks we've talked to, we have a potential retailer we're talking to right now where, it's not kind of a mobility issue. It's just, the orders require more service, right? The AOVs of these orders are $150, $200. They're bigger orders. They're going to bigger homes, and we can't leave the orders outside the front gate. We actually have to make an effort. We have to wait there for maybe 3 to 4 minutes to make sure the order actually gets collected. So I think that's another one. And then I think the last one, I'll touch on the affordability piece too, is, we're talking to a retailer about, hey, the affordability, right? The $2.99 deliveries, we have a retailer working with us on. And it's interesting because they basically said, hey, anytime we offer a promotion, right? Anytime we offer a delivery fee under $5, our delivery volume spikes, by 40, 50%. So imagine the option of now having a delivery time that's always under $5. What would that do for your e-commerce business? So I think, long story short, the cool thing about Buncha is we have a really cool platform. We have a really cool product, depending on what our retailers are looking for, what the retailers are looking for, we can flex that. We can kind of hit different value props, but it's been a really interesting kind of few months as we've been talking to retailers and realizing that, hey, our system today solves a lot of the problems that they're experiencing.
Well, and Bharat, one more thing that you didn't mention that I think we as retail personalities or researchers in the industry, and I think more people need to be cognizant of, is just the sustainability impacts that this also provides retailers. How are retailers thinking about that? Or when you're talking about this, is this coming up for them? Are they using this as another initiative to kind of push some of their sustainability goals that many of them set for the next year, really?
Oh yeah. So we're in Denver. We're talking to a few folks out there. Obviously they care a lot about that. Right. And even in Minneapolis, I would say, but it always ends up being a phenomenal cherry on the top. Right. Yeah. Like, it's like, hey, we're saving your money. Your store's going to be happy with us. You're going to love us because we're driving more volume, getting you in front of new customers. And, when your neighborhood chooses Buncha over, a competitor, or over going to the store themselves, there's like a 70 to 80% carbon emission savings that come from that. Right.
Wow.
I mean, if just simple math, right? We take 8 cars off the road, put them in one truck. That math makes sense, right? And it's usually more than that. So it always ends up being a great cherry on the top. One of our retailers, we got in because we were like, hey, this is a hyper sustainable offering for you, for your customers. And I know your customers care about, these sustainable offerings. And I think just kind of, one point to loop that in, right? The craze around on demand is warranted, right? Like the whole concept of push button get car was Uber, then it became push button get food, DoorDash, and it became push button get groceries, right? But then no one ever stopped to think, it's like, okay, do I need to push button and get it immediately, right? And when we look at like, how Americans shop, it's on a weekly basis, and it can very much be planned and it can very much be scheduled, right? And so if you look at even the old models like Milkman, right, that was a very eco-friendly way to get milk. And if you look at the Schwann's truck, even very eco-friendly way to get your groceries. So this isn't a new concept, right? It's actually a kind of, we moved in a different direction, but this has always existed, and we're kind of re-pioneering that model. But sustainability is like, it's a core thing that we're able to offer, and it's just sticking to the basics, which allows us to do that. So
yeah, or the point as well is people are willing to make a trade-off for speed against price too, which is an important factor that we've been talking about here too. All right, I want to ask you this: the service angle, the W2 drivers in particular. What makes that so unique in what you do, and what makes it so hard?
Yeah. It's honestly been fascinating, right? Like, as we talk to retailers and they tell us like all the problems they're having, like, here's the benefit when you look at a labor workforce, right? So we actually have to have 1099 workers. And what we realize is, one, it's really difficult for us to maintain quality, which is always very important to us. Two, it's very difficult for us to maintain timing, right? So what happens when you send an order to any of these on-demand providers is it kind of goes out into the ether, and there needs to be enough marketplace liquidity that someone will pick it up, right? And if someone doesn't, they'll continue to increase the batch rate until someone does pick it up, right? That's how these marketplace businesses work. That doesn't work for a business where the order has to be delivered between the 2 and 3 o'clock window, right? Like, we can't afford for someone not to pick the order or not to show up at the store, right? So by creating the W2 workforce, we've been able to create reliability, right? So from a store perspective, and this has been really interesting, right? The same people from Buncha show up for all the windows. So you're not dealing with different kind of contractors. If we work with you store, you're going to get the same team of 4 to 5 drivers that your store is going to know. And so we, like, for example, we had an issue the other day where our driver forgot one of the orders in the truck. And so the store called him directly, because we have a support line for the driver. The driver's like, "Oh, okay, I'll go deliver it." Went, delivered it back, issue resolved, right? You're not going through support to massive, that's huge benefit, right?
Right.
Obviously, the challenges are it's more expensive, but we offset that with batching. So that's why we say, hey, we want to have at least 5 orders on this batch to make it make sense for us to send a driver out there and articulate and deliver those orders. So I think, the reliability has been one thing, and then also just the experience. We really train our drivers exceptionally well. I think we end up admitting like 1 to 2% of all drivers. And by the way, we don't need a ton of drivers, right? Because everything's batched. So we have a really tight network of drivers. They're all trained exceptionally well. And literally step 1 of their training is provide the customer with a delightful experience and go above and beyond. So, going to the door, like, I can't emphasize enough how many times, like, just by us saying drivers are required to follow delivery instructions, that makes people's eyes light up. They're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
They have to do it. They have to go to the door. They have to, go into office buildings and navigate the directory. It's just a simple thing. So,
well, and Bharat, I think it's so important to bring up too, because Chris, remember a couple Fast Fives ago, we were talking about how DoorDash even is now letting drivers decide if the tip is high enough to take the order.
Right.
Like, I think there's all these other things that I think the advantages that you're talking about, it sounds like, Bharat, provide the retailer and the consumer. Is that right? Like,
the
am I
consumer
right?
wins at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? You take care of your people, they'll take care of you. So our drivers get paid very well, great benefits, scheduling, they have a good team to work with. And I think we just did a company survey, and we pulled all of our drivers, and they're like, yeah, one of the questions was, do you feel like your manager supports you? I was like 9 out of 10, average across all of our driver pool. So we really go above and beyond on that, on that angle.
Well, Bharat, I feel like we could keep talking to you about this for quite a long time, but I gotta know what's next. When we talk to you in another 6 months, what should we expect? And are you going to be out at NRF, the big show next week?
You are.
Yes, yes.
right.
We will be at all of them. So, this new model, we're really excited about. We're seeing some great retailer interest. We plan to be at NRF. We're going to be at booth 1440. And we're actually hosting a small innovation happy hour with some interesting VCs that invest in the retail technology space for breakfast on Tuesday morning. So, stay tuned to that. Add me on LinkedIn. I'll be posting more information there. We'll be at Manifest. We're going to be at Shop Talk. There's one more I'm forgetting, but we're going to be at a lot of trade shows in this next quarter. But our goal is to launch this white label model with as many retailers as possible. So I would say if you're a retailer that's interested in exploring this opportunity with Buncha, please email me directly. That's the benefit of a small team. You know me. You come to me if you need anything. So yeah, we're really excited to kind of roll this out. And I think the last thing is we would love to take this to a new market with a retailer. So we're trying to explore, like, is there any retailers that are outside of our Minneapolis and Denver market that want to take us with them to a new market? And we're talking to some folks in the Carolinas. We're talking to some folks in, Phoenix area. So that's kind of our next step, is a market expansion with some of our retail partners.
Grabbing the bull by the horns, man. That's great. That's awesome. Well, hey, man, thanks for sitting down with us. Again, everyone listening, this has been Bharat Pulgam, the CEO of Buncha. And as always, on behalf of all of us at Omni Talk and on behalf of Bharat, be careful out there.